turn the visual yeah, okay, visualize is focused. Right, let's get rid of the coffee cup because that's just making a shadow on the poem. And first of all, I want to apologise because at some point, quite clearly, I leant on this book open while I was writing with a board pen and it's just gone straight through. But I don't have another copy of the text and my printer's broken, so we're going to have to live with it. It's fine, I'll read it out to you. Yeah, sorry about that. You've got clean copies of the poem though in your books, so you should be fine. So first of all today, let's talk about Away and See. So this is Carol Ann Duffy poem, and Away and See, the Carol Ann Duffy poem is, well, we'll read it through. Away and see an ocean suck at a boiled sun and say to someone things I'd blush even to dream. Slip off your dress in a high room over the harbour. Write to me soon. New fruits sing on the flip side of night in a market of language light, a tune from the chapel nearby stopping you dead, the peach in your palm respiring. Taste it for me. Away and see the things that words give name to, the flight of syllables, wingspan stretching a noun. Test words wherever they live, listen and touch, smell, believe, spell them with love. Skedaddle. Somebody chaps at the door at year's end, hopeful. Away and see who it is. Let in the new, the vivid, horror and pity, passion, the stranger holding the future. Ask him his name. Nothing's the same as anything else. Away and see for yourself. Walk, fly, take a boat till land reappears, altered forever, ringing its bells alive. Go on, gone, gone, away and see. So you have maybe most immediately this idea of the use of like imperatives or exhortation, because can you see how that's the same from the title to the first line? So let's put that there. I've tried to change colour to a different pen so that you can actually see which annotations go to this poem and which annotations go to Call. So let's see if that works. So imperatives or exhortation, a word that has an H in it that doesn't sound like it's there. Telling you to do something. And we have that all the way through. So if I just grab this yellow highlighter, see if this shows up, because if it doesn't, I'll pick a different one. That is rubbish, that doesn't show up at all. Okay, let's pick a different highlighter. Okay, let's pick a yellow highlighter. Better, okay. Away and see an ocean suck at a boiled sun. And then you've got say to someone things I blush to dream, slip off your dress, write to me soon, is this idea of telling someone to do something all the time. Taste it for me, that repetition of away and see there, telling someone what to do. And again, look, you've got here, listen, touch, smell, believe, spell them with love, telling you how to do it exactly, even telling you how to do it soon, with love. Ask him his name, skedaddle, loads of imperatives and telling you what to do here. Let in. Here, look, away and see, walk, fly, take a boat. Go on, gone, gone, away and see. So the whole thing is telling you what to do. Now that kind of links to this idea of maybe like a mother telling a child what to do. So Carol Ann Duffy, you can probably tell by her last name, her mother was like kind of Irish Scottish, and you can tell it's this idea of like a mother's speech. Oh, this pen is broken. Just seriously guys, it's like they don't want me to make this video today. Let's try this one. Oh, it works. The mother's speech kind of coming through there. So you have this kind of this Gaelic-y kind of Scottish Irish thing coming through. And basically it's reflexive, so it's go and have a look. But the idea is that it's reflexive on the poet, because it's a poet's job to look at the world. Now, you've also got this idea of kind of childhood coming through in the beginning. The boiled sun is like a sweet. And can you see how it's even blushing to dream and slipping off the dress? So it moves from like child to adult. And you have this idea of language starting to pull through. So let's try the pink highlighter and see that not work, and then we'll just try something else. Yeah, that's completely invisible on there as well. Let's try a darker highlighter. Okay, let's try this one. Okay, so you've got say, which is obviously to do with language. You've got write, which is obviously to do with language. To a certain extent, you've got sing, language, light there. You've also got words, name, syllables, noun, words, spell. So this kind of language coming through. Name. So it's this idea of language kind of coming through, and this is, I would say, really quickly like linked to the poem Grammar of Light. Because you have this idea, the mixing up of language and light together. All the poems in this are a collection, so when you talk about them in the essay question, you talk about them as linked to each other. And you have this idea of the flip side of night, which is obviously day. The tune from a chapel nearby. Now, I would link that, if I were talking about it, to the poem Prayer, which we haven't gone over yet, but we will soon. But also to the Larkin poem, Reference Back. And the peach in your palm respiring. It's almost like a tension between a religion and life. And I guess in some way kind of slightly sexual. So let's find a highlighter that's definitely going to show up, shall we? Let's try this blue one, see if that works. So you've got new fruits sing, everything's kind of lively, and new fruits singing is quite lively. But then you have this stopping you dead, so it kind of contrasts with the idea of dead. But respiring is something that does what something does when it's alive, and peach is alive, it's a fruit, and a peach, it looks a little bit like a little bum. So it's this idea of just being kind of sexualized. Because if you compare that to, if you imagine she's got a peach in her palm and then compare that to the chapel nearby, it's the idea of what would the chapel think of the peach that's in her palm. And that makes this line obviously have more of a double meaning. I'm really sorry, by the way, that my coffee cup keeps rattling. My desk isn't actually a desk, it's a camping table, because I don't have a desk, so it rocks quite a lot. Just not the best desk for recording, I'm sorry. And it's just this idea of like life and liveliness kind of coming through all the time here. Then you have also the idea of life coming through here where they live. So things that words give a name to, the flight of syllables, wingspan, stretching a noun, test words wherever they live. So words here are like birds. Words equal birds. And it's the idea of like a living idea is expressed through words. Words are alive in this concept. But it also links to the grammar of light, if you remember the trees that think in words. So you've got grammar of light coming through again here. This is not entirely an independent poem, it links to that poem. So here you've got this idea, syllables are part of the word, and their wingspan stretches a noun. So if you have little syllables, they stretch out together and they make an actual word. And it's testing them out, really looking at them, taking them personally, because poetry is about word choice. So it's this idea of testing the words. And words usually show you something about the world, but what she's saying is that the world shows her something about words. So it's this idea of like an empirical link, an idea of her experiences teach her something about how the words in her poetry work. Obviously, skedaddle is just a word that tells you to go away, but skedaddle and chaps, these choice of words in dialect, they kind of keep language at the forefront in the poem. They keep language central to the poem. Chaps at the door at a year's end, hopeful, letting the new, the vivid. So you've partly got this liveliness coming through again. You've got this idea of like hopeful, the new, the vivid, so it's something that's alive, passion, everything that's part of the life that's kind of coming through. The idea of the year's end is Scottish. It's like Burns Night and the idea of a new year coming through. And the idea that the stranger holding the future is something that cannot be known, the new and the vivid, but someone's name can be known. So it's this idea that words kind of can express both. Words can express what cannot be known, the future, and words can express what can be known, like someone's name. But is that a thing? Is that a real important thing that's part of someone's life? Any second now an alarm's going to go off. There we go. Sorry guys. Okay. And it's this idea that maybe in some way the stranger that's holding the future is the stranger, the passion, life, the future, God is the stranger because it's him, his name. Is the stranger a man? Does that link in with Carol Ann Duffy? Because that kind of doesn't make sense. Does it make sense? Is the stranger that's holding the future like her relationship with her teacher? No one kind of knows. It's a poem. You can twist it however you want. Nothing's the same as anything else pulls up this idea that each thing is identity. It's this idea of individualism and identity. Because interestingly, big parts of this poem are the same as other parts of this poem. Some things are the same as other things. There's repetition all the way through it, which would seem to tell me that that's different. But what it means is that each time that that's used, it's not exactly the same as the way it was used before. And it's this idea of for yourself, see it for yourself, away and see for yourself. So personal experience and perspective will mean that everyone's experience of the same thing will be different. So nothing will be the same as everything else. Experience. There we go. And the idea of pushing someone to travel, walk, fly, take a boat till land reappears, altered forever, ringing its bells alive. This, even with the bells, obviously you've got alive, which should link to that idea of life running through the poem, but that's linking to the poem Nostalgia. Do you remember in Nostalgia when they come back and everything's changed forever, so nothing's the same as it was before, but it's been twisted and it's changed? And then down here, look, you have go on, gone, gone. So they're using this dialect from go on to gone, gone, and it's diminishing every time. It gets smaller all the time. Can you see how first of all it had two words, then it had the one word with just the apostrophe, and then it's just one word with no apostrophe. The sun's shining on it, I'm sorry guys, like that. But now they're using dialect. That's rubbish, right? Can I like put my pencil case in the way of the sun? Maybe. Yeah, there we go, that works. Good job. To kind of show this idea of going on as gone, as losing something. So you do go on, you do go away and see, but in some way it expresses this idea of loss of something that's gone. Maybe because nothing's the same as anything else, maybe what's gone is your perception of how it was before. And then, sorry, my handwriting's really bad there. There we go. And that repetition of away and see again at the end as at the beginning, it kind of bookends it. But it's the idea that it will change. The inherent in change is loss. So away and see, kind of a confusing poem, but I reckon that you've got this. If you think about it in terms of maybe like a changing relationship with words or language, or changing relationship with a parent, you may be able to kind of see that. All you guys need to do is annotate your poem. I look forward to speaking to you next lesson.